Good morning. My name is Angela St. Julian, and I am the principal mediator and arbitrator with Yes Mediate LLC. So I'm excited to be here this morning because this is the start of a series of conversations I'd like to have with you. My hope is that you will join the discussion via the comments or even hopping on and having a live discussion with me here on LinkedIn, YouTube, also on TikTok as well, Instagram, all the social medias. So anyway, I'd like to start today's discussion talking specifically about conflict. You know, conflict does not discriminate. It doesn't matter how large or small your company is. We all end up dealing with conflict at some point or another. You'd be surprised at where it decides to rear its ugly head. And I say ugly because conflict can be quite ugly. But let's start with just talking about what conflict is. Okay, I did a little something this morning that most of us do often, which is to type a word into Google and see what comes out. So I typed in conflict, and Google gave me a definition of the word, the noun, the verb. It also gave me several things and resources that I could use to understand conflict. And I want to share it with you before we move forward. It says that conflict, the noun, is a serious disagreement or argument, typically a protracted one. Conflict as a verb is to be incompatible or at variance, clash. Okay? Now on the side here, on the right-hand side of Google, it gives me, images for conflict, and you see people clashing. You see the big people here with big sign that says yes and big sign that says no. And it tells me what conflict is again, process, okay? A conflict is a struggle and a clash of interest, opinion, or even principles. Conflict will always be found in society, as the basis of conflict may vary to be personal, racial, class, caste, political, and international. That was from our friends over at Wikipedia. So listen, I think for the most part, we all understand what conflict is. Today, I kind of want to discuss if we understand when we are at conflict. Have you been able to understand your body and your mind to the point where you know that you are at conflict with something or someone? Have you gotten to that point? Well, that's kind of where I want to start. A lot of people do walk around very busy or preoccupied with life and things and are unaware of certain things that are going on with them. Certain things can be many things, but today we're talking about conflict. And I'd like to say you do have many people who are able to continue on with life and be totally unaware that they are at conflict with a certain thing or a certain person or individuals. I want you to be able to, when we walk away from this, kind of take the approach where you sit back, you relax in your seat, you think about what I have said, you think about what that means to you, and you start to take an evaluation of yourself, particularly your body and your mind, as it regards to conflict. Are you a person who, typically walks around clenching your jaw with your fists tight, your shoulders raised to your ears, your body tight and erect all the time? Are you the type of person who walks around feeling, let's say, people say grumpy all the time, but grumpy, irritable? Are you someone who is having issues with, your everyday task because you just feel like you're always on edge. Well, when you peel that back, when you stop and think about that, why your fists are clenched, why you're clenching your jaws, why your shoulders are raised, why your body's so stiff and erect all the time, is it because there is something underneath that that needs to be addressed? Like, say, a conflict. Once you start realizing that something is happening, then you start to take away from just the observations you've made of your body, and then you delve into your thought process and start to think about where this tension is coming from. As you start to think about where this tension is coming from, then you may begin to work through some ideas of what you're doing in your life, where you're going, where you have been, what your routine is, what your process is. How many times you've gone to the grocery store this week and, someone has run over your heel with the basket, or how many times you've been stuck in gridlock traffic this week and someone is leaning on their horn behind you like you can go when you really can't go. How many times you've walked into the office and you look over and you think that you see Sharon giving you the eye and you're wondering what Sharon's problem is. Well, that could be the first place to start to think about if there's some conflict going on, or as Google has said here, any type of disagreement or incompatibility or a clash, or our friends at Wikipedia has said any type of struggle or clash of interest or opinion or even principle. What is happening? Okay, ask yourself what is happening. And when you take the step to ask yourself that important question, then you can start to work on the idea that, something's going on. Because trust me, if you didn't know it was going on, okay, fine. But I can almost 100% assure you that the person that you may be in conflict with, the people that you may be in conflict with, they are aware. Okay? And that's the tension that you're feeling. That's that underlying thing. That's that walking in and looking to your right and seeing Sharon over there rolling her eyes. There's something going on. Okay? We have to understand that a good part of life, most of life, let's be honest about it, is how we interact and communicate with others. And yes, we're busy. Yes, there's a lot going on, but we cannot be so internally involved with self that we are not evaluating at all times what's going on around us. So let's start there. First thing to do, I'd say today and throughout the rest of this week, is start to evaluate what is happening around you. And again, specifically, these are for the people that would typically not know what's going on around them because they're so focused on other things. If you have been that person who's walking around rather tense, there's a reason for that. Okay, there's something going on. If you think Sharon is rolling her eyes at you, there's a reason. Something is going on. Once you have identified that something is going on, then come back. Come back for the next chat and let's talk further. Because now that we have identified that there possibly is conflict, then we can start to decide, okay, what that conflict is. And then after we've discovered what it is, then we can move ourselves to the process of determining how to resolve said conflict. Okay, so I'm not going to take up a lot of your time because we don't all have a lot of that these days. We're so busy, but I really, really hope that you join me for the next discussion. Drop a comment in there below, specifically just telling us little traits about yourself that you have noticed that could be as a result of some internal or external tensions due to conflict. Are you a person who's clenching your fist, grinding your teeth, having your jaws tight all the time, shoulders raised? Let me know. All right, we'll talk soon.